Good afternoon and welcome to your 2021 Community-Wide Family Day. My name is Chef Wendy and this is my darling husband Mark, and we are here today to take you through a virtual cooking demonstration. And we understand that it's time for us to slow down, break some bread together, and get back around the kitchen table. But before we get around the kitchen table, we need to start in the kitchen and cook up some conversations, cook up some food, and begin to build what we all know is a legacy that comes together when we're all in the kitchen together. And so we want to do that for you here today. We have a wonderful menu for you, and we're excited to be able to take you through this.
Chef Wendy, who is this made possible by?
Oh my gosh, thank you. We must mention that. This was all made possible by the Kent County Prevention Coalition, Above the Influence, and Network 180. All right, pull your hair back, grab a snack if you need to, put on some comfy clothes, and let's get cooking. See you soon. So next up, we have our virtual visual ingredient list. As you can see, I've made everything very clear on what is needed for this. If you see the chives and the cinnamon in the back, that is definitely optional. We'll need that for the sweet potato. You choose what you decide you want. Dessert, everything you need is right here. Next up, let's go ahead and turn our oven on to 400 degrees. Hit start. And now, wash your hands. Let's get ready. Nice and wet and soapy. Now that that's out of the way, take those sweet potatoes and give them a nice scrub under some lukewarm water or cold. If you have vegetable cleaner, go ahead and spray or sprinkle some of that on there. If you don't, that's okay. Just give these sweet potatoes a nice good scrub. And besides, I don't plan on eating outside, but maybe you do, and that's okay. Now we're gonna throw them on our pan and we're gonna insert them into the oven and we're gonna let them do what they do. And that's cook. Now this dessert is super simple. What I would say is go ahead and make this right after you pop your sweet potatoes into the oven, because then that way once you put this together, put it in your pie crust, you can pop that in the refrigerator, and then by the time you finish cooking, conversing, and chowing down, your dessert will be ready for you. All right, let's get into it. All right, so let's get ready for our dessert. I would say follow the instructions on your instant pudding. For me, I needed 2 cups of milk, and of course I like to give my milk a little shake if it's been sitting. And then from there, I am going to grab the instant pudding, and as you can see, I like to keep everything nice and prepared so that I can just grab it and use it right away. So sprinkle all of that chocolate dust in there. And now grab your whisk, grab your milk, pour it in there. You can do a little whisk, or you can do it all at the end once the milk is in, but I like to give it a whisk as I'm going. And now you're gonna whisk this for 2 minutes. Now 2 minutes may not seem like a lot in theory, but as you're doing it, it becomes a little bit tough. But I would say you delegate who can be in charge of this and just whisk it for a good 2 minutes. And then from there, we're going to continue to look at that consistency. And once it's at a nice smooth consistency, take a look at it, see if it looks similar to mine. You want to make sure all the chunks are out. It's still going to be liquidy because it needs to get in the fridge. Take a moment, throw it in the fridge, maybe clean off your whisk, clean up a little bit if you want, and then we'll start from the next step. Next up, as always, let's make sure we have everything prepped because the pudding only has to stay in the fridge for 5 minutes. Let's get our graham cracker crust open. Be gentle with the crust because sometimes it can be a little fragile. Open that up, make sure to remove the little plastic lid. Next up, let's go ahead and open up our Cool Whip. I would say have your Cool Whip out and ready to go. You typically find these in the freezer, so you want it to be pliable and you want it to cool off a little bit, okay? Open it up so everything is ready for you. Next up, we're going to put some Oreos into a bag, and the reason for this, I would say put about 8. 8 to 10. But if you love Oreos, live it up. You have a whole pack. Do your thing. Now smash those Oreos on the countertop for an Oreo crumble. Be careful. Grab your pudding and let's move on. Now fold in your Cool Whip. Keep it nice and easy, about a half a cup here. Mix it up very well. And you want to continue to mix until it's a nice milk chocolatey brown. Next up, let's go ahead and pour it into our graham cracker crust. Ooh, look at that. It's so smooth. And if yours is a little bit thicker, that's okay. Leave space for the Oreos on top. You don't want it to overflow. Or maybe you do. Grab those smashed up Oreos, and now we're going to drizzle them all on top. Drizzle as many Oreos as you would like, or as little as you would like. But I want to remind you or let you know that we will be adding some Cool Whip on top and then more Oreos. So leave some space. We're about to add our Cool Whip, so get ready. The rest of the Cool Whip that was in the tub, add it on there and smooth it on out. Smooth out that Cool Whip on top of those Oreos. It may be a little bit challenging, but who's not up for a little challenge today, right? And then once you do that, we're gonna add some Oreos on top. Oh, get excited! Hopefully you have some space in your fridge, because now we're going to take this beauty and we're going to put it in our refrigerator and let that be until it's time to get to it. Now that we're back from our sweet dream, let's get the rest of our produce prepped and ready to go. Pour those green beans in a nice large size bowl. If you have some vegetable wash, clean off those vegetables, those green beans specifically. We use some Trader Joe's vegetable wash. We're going to put them under some nice cold running water, and we're going to give them a nice massage and clean them off very well. That's really important, especially if we have any pregnant mamas out there. It's really important to give your produce a nice, good wash. Now drain those green beans. Use a strainer if you have one. We made it a little bit more complicated for ourselves. We just used our hands here. And once that is done, you can set those in the fridge, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Next up, we have our herbs. Again, we're prepping everything so we can have everything at our fingertips. Now, right now, we're taking the thyme off the leaves. Thyme is spelled T-H-Y-M-E. And we're taking that thyme off the leaves, separating those stems. Thyme have little small leaves. It smells really good. You typically find thyme on turkey or dressing, all those type of things. And then next up, the beautiful, the powerful, the fragrant rosemary. You're gonna grab you some rosemary here. Those long, beautiful leaves, and then you're going to pull off some leaves from there as well. And it's okay, we're gonna mix those herbs anyway, because we need them all together anyway. And it smells so fragrant, guys. Oh, it's so good. All right, get into it. Let's grab our garlic, break it apart. If you have not used fresh garlic, don't worry, I'm gonna educate you today, because baby, fresh garlic is where it's at. So you want to break apart the husk. You want to break apart your cloves, which are the individual pieces of the garlic. And then you want to get rid of all that little husk. It sounds like paper. I know you can hear it. And then from there, we're going to start chopping it. The way that I like to get the sticky husk off is by pressing my garlic down with my knife and smashing it open. This allows for the garlic to open up and allows me easier access to remove that husk that's really holding on tight to that garlic clove. It's so much easier. Now be mindful, garlic can be a little sticky, so if you're not a sticky texture type of person, maybe have someone else in the family do it, or grab some gloves. This might be a great idea for a kid to do. They might enjoy it once you break it open for them, depending on the age, of course. They'll get all of that off. And now, let's get to chopping. What I like to do, or what I prefer to do, is I like to basically cut it horizontally, like as thin as possible, nothing too major. Then I like to turn it vertically and then go for the gusto. Now, but remember to keep those fingers tucked back, that thumb tucked back, and then just go for it. And if you're not chopping as quickly as I am, just remember I've been trained, and practice makes perfect. So be careful.
What are we doing?
Okay, so we've cleaned our green beans off. Now you need to take them. We'll show you what to do, okay? Take them. I prefer them uniform. Some people really don't care, but let's keep them uniform. Okay. It's just pretty on the plate. So now we're gonna take this. We're gonna cut off these ends, okay? So put a few of them together. Clip off the ends like that. Turn it over. Make it even on the other side, and do the same thing. You can handle that?
I think so.
Can you multitask and I talk to you at the same time?
I'm gonna try my best.
All right, let's do it.
Let's see here. So I'll take a couple of these.
Yep.
We're gonna line them up. Wait, you did it like this. You line them up on the side.
Just be safe. Whatever works for you.
I think this is the way it's gonna work for me right here.
Okay.
Where I line them up.
Watch your thumb.
Wait, I got a short roll on nugget.
Okay.
And then.
Yep. And just make sure when you're cutting, you want to bring your thumb back behind those fingers. So if the knife does go right here, your thumb is not out here to get chopped.
All right, so put me in the right position because I want to make sure I'm doing it right. So
Okay.
which thumb?
This thumb.
Okay.
Okay. So you just want to hold it like this.
Oh, okay.
And you just want to, even if your thumb's not behind it, you just want to tuck it back. And just relax your shoulders a little bit.
All right, little thumb.
Yep.
Stay back.
Wait. But before, I have a question for you. What
Yes.
would you say, what's legacy to you?
Legacy.
Yes.
It's a deep question.
I mean, it's family day, and we really want to promote family, legacy, and having those intentional conversations in the kitchen. So, I mean, with us starting a family of our own, then I want to know what's legacy to you?
So, legacy to me is leaving something for my future to carry on.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that
I'm gonna help you.
it's something that, thank you, that is like, that's going to benefit not just my immediate, like my sons and daughters, but my grandchildren and so on. And they just take on, hopefully, characteristics from me, but also the things, like tangible things I can leave behind. That's what I consider as legacy.
Okay, I like that. So what now? What are some of those
Please.
things? Yeah, sorry.
So character-wise, I really want to leave. Actually, I really want to work on myself first and leave with.
Well, continue working on yourself.
Yeah, continue working on myself. There we go. Yeah, continue working on myself. But character is big, and I wanted to grow men and women, our children, to be integral.
Yeah, that's great.
Also to do everything in excellence.
Okay.
Just because it just goes along with our faith of just honoring God. And
so like
also,
a spirit of excellence.
Correct, spirit of excellence.
Okay.
And also I want to just leave with loving children, because you just don't see people with genuine hearts anymore. So just want to be genuine in every situation, and be known for loving on my kids, and more importantly my wife, and that they see that, and they and that they do the same.
So then that way we can put them in the water. I can collect trash. All right. Well, I would say for me, just having your last name and us building our own family. Our legacy, I want it to be full of faith, full of fitness, full of love, but also authenticity and just knowing the power of community. So I think it's really important to think about what we want to leave behind, what we want to be known for as grandparents, as great-grandparents, as our children grow, as they have children, as they marry, as the time goes on generationally. I want us to set a firm foundation of faith, a firm foundation of like living a healthy lifestyle, wholesome, hence the meal that we're cooking. It can be good, it can be the soul of the kitchen, but it also needs to be wholesome. That's what we think. But being authentic and really leaning into our community of people that we've had the privilege of building around us, but then also creating that for our kids, and they can understand the power of that themselves and continue to build that on as they go on, because it's a very independent world out here, but we're very interdependent as human beings, and so I really want us to hone in on that.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm glad you told me that. I first of all, before I got another question for you, but what do I do with these green beans? What's next?
We're gonna put them in this bowl. Put them back in the bowl, and we're about to transfer them over to the water.
Okay.
We're gonna put it in the water.
Okay, let's do that.
Now that all of our produce and all of our ready-to-eat foods are out of the way, let's pull out this raw chicken. So first things first, clean it off. Clean it with some nice cool water. I know some people like to use lemon. I know some people like to use vinegar. If you have gloves, throw them on. Do whatever you feel comfortable doing in the comfort of your home. But make sure after you deal with the chicken, you wash those hands, okay? All right, let's turn on our saute pan, put in our oil. I put about 2 tablespoons or so of there. You want it to get nice and hot. I would say medium high heat. And while that is getting warm, we're gonna season our chicken. For today's chicken, we're simply using salt and pepper because we really want the flavor of the rosemary and thyme to shine and be superior. So if you decide you want to use seasoned salt, garlic, onion, do whatever you want to do. But for us today, we're just doing some nice salt and then pepper, and then we're gonna flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. If you touch the chicken, don't double dip into your seasonings. You want to make sure, again, your hands are washed so you're not double dipping. You don't want to risk getting any type of foodborne illness. It's a real thing, folks. It's a real thing. Now we're over back to our stove, and let me tell you, the grease is hot because we prepared it beforehand before seasoning. So if you need to take a few steps back, that's okay. But you're gonna notice that it is sizzling, okay? And if you need to, turn the heat down a little bit. You will turn it back up. Trust me when I say. Make sure you put all the pieces of chicken in there, just enough for all of them to have a little breathing room, if you will. So the chicken's in your pan with your hot grease. And now you're just going to let them cook and saute. Your water for your green beans should be nice and ready. So now, let's wash our hands again and get those green beans into that pot of water. Now we want to flip our chicken over, make sure that it has a nice golden sear on one side. And again, it's still popping, so stay back, okay? And once it cooks for another 2 or 3 minutes, what we're gonna do is get ready and put it into a nice clean bowl. Look at that chicken, looks delicious. And from here, next up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in our butter. We're gonna put in our butter into the pan. I'm using vegan earth balance butter because that's what I prefer. So you're going to put some butter into that pan, keeping it on that same temperature there. If the butter wants to come off my spoon. And now we're going to next up add our garlic. Butter melts down a little bit, and now we're going to add our fresh minced garlic in there. Get it all from your bowl or your little prep container. Mix it up. And you want to cook the garlic until it becomes aromatic, meaning you begin to smell it. It becomes fragrant. At this point, though, you want to turn your eye down just a little bit because we don't want the garlic to cook too quickly because we still have to add in our thyme and rosemary. But I hope you have it close by because we need it close by. Oh, it smells so good. All right, mix it up. It's beautiful and golden. Now let's add our herbs, our thyme and our rosemary. Just get as much of it in there, all of it actually in there. And then we're gonna mix it up. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then from there, once we mix it up, you'll begin to smell those herbs. Now we're gonna add our chicken back into our butter, garlic, rosemary, thyme mixture. Still sizzling nice and beautifully. And then we're gonna take our spoon, tilt the pan a little bit, grab some of that buttery goodness, and then we're gonna ladle it right onto our chicken here. Making sure that we're able to get some garlic, some rosemary, some thyme onto our chicken. Flip the chicken over if you have to. I don't think it's really necessary. Just move the pieces away from you that wants to roll down the pan. But get some of that buttery goodness right up on that chicken. Beautiful. Our chicken is ready and prepared. We're going to turn our eye off and we're going to, it's probably best if you just go ahead and remove it from that eye so then that way it won't continue to cook. We have to work as a team in the kitchen. Make sure you have someone keeping their eyes on those green beans. Get them strained. Once they're strained, put some oil into that pan that they were just boiling in. Turn up that heat. And then next up, what you're gonna do is you're gonna dump your green beans in, and you should get a nice, beautiful sizzle. And you want to roll your green beans around to get olive oil or oil, whatever oil you're using, all on those green beans. And then from there, what you're gonna wanna do is season it with salt and pepper. Then you want to go ahead and use those tongs again and roll your green beans around and make sure that every green bean has salt and pepper on it. You might have thought I used a little bit too much, but trust me, a lot of that salt is just going to roll right off of those green beans and end up being in our pan. So don't worry, but use your own discretion for the amount of salt that you would like to use for your family. We want to make sure that we're staying healthy, eating whole foods, and keeping our healthy lifestyle at the forefront of our mind. It's been about 35 to 40 minutes. You want to go ahead and pull out those sweet potatoes from the oven, set them to the side, and now what's next? Let's go ahead and get our dinner prepared. Now each family is unique. You can do this buffet style, family style, everything sitting on the kitchen table, or you can have everyone go ahead and make their plates. But we have our beautifully sauteed chicken, our sweet potatoes, and those lovely green beans slightly seared to perfection. For my husband, he prefers his sweet potatoes sweet, so I'm adding some brown sugar, and then from that brown sugar, not too much, the sweet potato has its own sweetness. Next, I'm gonna add some cinnamon because that's how he prefers his. I, on the other hand, like butter and chives. Right to have a taste tester. So for the sake of time, we went ahead and cut my husband a piece of his pie. And he's really excited, as you probably could tell. I wish you could hear his commentary in the background. Oreos are his favorite. I think that's what really inspired this dessert, plus the simplicity of it. Now, it could have stayed in the fridge a little bit longer, got a little bit firmer. But as you can see, it's a little bit gooey, but that's okay. We're gonna make it work because I'm sure it's gonna be delicious. Make sure that you're getting that graham cracker crust, because don't nobody just want to eat pudding, okay? All right, here we go. First bite, let's see what happens. I think it was a success, you guys. He said yeah, so here we go. So, and just like that, folks, you have made it through the virtual cooking demonstration. Congratulations. Today, you made a scrumptious garlic rosemary chicken, baked sweet potato, sauteed green beans, and for dessert, an Oreo instant pie. I think you really like that. And so right now, we gotta take time to just give out our thank yous. First, I wanna thank my lovely husband. Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have to thank Kent County Prevention Coalition, Above the Influence, and Network 180. Thank you for sponsoring us. Thank you for choosing us. And of course, we have to say thank you to you. Thank you for registering. Thank you for your time today. And thank you for being intentional, getting in the kitchen with your family. I am Chef Wendy, as you may know, owner and creator of Eden's Table Grand Rapids. Head on over to Instagram and find me at Eden's Table GI. And just to let you know, so you don't forget, the goal here was to create an opportunity to come together intentionally with your family, to cook together, to eat together, and to have intentional conversations. Because you know what? The conversation begins with us, in our homes, with our families. And that, folks, is the soul of the kitchen. We'll be seeing you.